Hey, how's everyone doing? It's Baby Aga, or should I say, Baby Blue Bookworm? Welcome back to another episode of my book review series called Baby Reviews Books. So, as always, the link for the official transcript of this video or the official blog post for my book blog will be available in the link in the description below. And excuse me, there's my cat is in the room, so she's probably gonna cause a mess anytime soon. Oh, I don't know if you can see her. She's like trying to cause a mess on one of my bookshelves. Wait. Let me. Can you see her? Yeah, you can see her head over there. She's trying to. This entry specifically is dedicated to my friend Jerome, so thank you for the gift. And today we'll be reviewing a classic novel that I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with. It is none other than George Orwell's Animal Farm. So we'll be reviewing the Collins Classics edition specifically. So, George Orwell's hit 1945 novel Animal Farm is a fable turned political novel with some deep symbolism, despite its wide and unique sets of characters. So, this story is considered a fable because of its main characters being animals, with anthropomorphic behaviors, especially as the novel progresses. So, that means human or human like behaviors. So, fables are meant to teach certain lessons or remind you of certain maxims. But this has also been a political novel because of its indirect parallels to real life ideologies and even those behind them. So, I first read this book from my English literature class back in 10th grade, around 2018. At first, I thought Animal Farm was like a fever dream with how these characters were particularly animals, and I found it strange until a further analysis of the book made me realize it was much more than a fairy story from the Signet Classics edition. So, upon reading this book for the first time, once I got a full understanding of Orwell's work, I will admit that the story of Napoleon, Snowball, Boxer, and the manor-turned-animal farm setting stuck with me for years. So let's just say that this thing is like the ultimate symbol of Animal Farm, like this random pig toy I have. So it is squeaky toy. I don't even remember how I got this, but when I showed this big toy to my professor during a presentation once, which was also somehow relating to Karl Marx stuff, and I decided to bring up Animal Farm, he found it funny and gave me and my group mates a good grade. So when my friend Jerome gifted me the Collins Classics edition of this book, I was beyond ecstatic. Like, having another copy of this book filled me with the same excitement I felt years ago when I first read Animal Farm 2018. And it reminded me of how much I loved Orwell's work and how this is still applicable, especially in my current degree program, sociology. This is also the first time I got another copy of the same book. And no, I'm not considering the Life and Death or Twilight 10th Anniversary Edition copies that I own. But I told myself, why not read it again? Like, especially with my new hyperfixation on the Collins Classics copies of books. I was just so excited to build my new collection. And I mean it, like, look, like, can you see it? Like, all these classics, my friend, and there's just one over there of Jane Austen's Persuasion. That was also a birthday gift last year, so thank you, Lou, if you're watching this. So it is the current stack I have of the Collins Classics books that include Jekyll and Hyde, Oscar Wilde's Picture of Dorian Gray, The Phantom of the Opera, The Scarlet Letter, Sherlock Holmes, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, Animal Farm, and another one in my upcoming reading queue, H.P. Lovecraft's selected short stories. This book of Animal Farm will contain major spoilers, or should I say, old major spoilers. Properly start things off, let me just say something first, okay? My poor baby Snowball. Okay, he did not deserve all of this pain and this betrayal. But then again, who am I to judge or complain? This novel is actually meant to symbolize true-to-life historical events during the end of World War II, if I'm not mistaken, which we will tackle later. Hi! Hi! Wait, let me... Can you see my cat? She's like... over there. Near the bathroom door. Here's the actual plot of the book. So, the animals of Mr. Jones' manor farm feel overworked and oppressed by the farm owner, Mr. Jones himself. Mr. Jones happens to be a neglectful owner of the farm. He's also a drunkard, and he tends to mistreat the animals. Mr. Jones of the manor farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop holes. With a ring of light from his lantern dancing from side to side, he lurched across the yard, kicked off his boots at the back door, drew himself a last glass of beer from the barrel in the scullery, and made his way up to the bed where Mr. Jones was already snoring. I'm sorry, my cat is like chasing after her own tail. So, going back, one evening, old Major, aka Willingdon. I'm so sorry, my script on my laptop auto-corrected it to Wellington. Willingdon Beauty. He makes a speech and a plea to bring back the farm to its glory and for the animals to take back their lives after what they've been put through. And of course, initially the three pigs named Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer lead the rebellion. Although Squealer is kind of like, I think, a younger pig, if I'm not mistaken. He's a younger pig who kind of just follows orders, or whatever orders that Napoleon and Snowball give him. So he's kind of like, I'd say their minion, or should I say piglet. Through repeated blasting of Old Major's song Beasts of England, and because I don't remember what the song sounded like, and because I am not a good singer yet, I'm just gonna read some of the lines. So, Beasts of England, Beasts of Ireland, Beasts of every land and clime.
Hearken to my joyful tidings of the golden future time. Sooner or late the day is coming. Tyrant man shall be overthrown, and the fruitful fields of England shall be trod by beasts alone. Rings shall vanish from our noses, and harness from our back. Bit and spur shall rust forever, cruel whips no more shall crack. And this continues on until page 8. Riches more than mine and picture, wheat and barley, oats and hay, clover, beans, and mango wurzels shall be ours upon that day. Bright will shine the fields of England, pure shall its waters be, sweeter yet shall blow its breezes, on the day that sets us free. For the day that we all must labor, though we die before it break, cows and horses, geese and turkeys, all must toil for freedom's sake. Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of every land and clime, hearken well and spread my tidings of the golden future time.
So, this was sung and led by Old Major, and the ideologies formed by the pig leaders. Soon, Manor Farm turns to Animal Farm as the animals learn animalism and they overthrow Mr. Jones. And the animals also continued to honor Old Major even after his death, and many looked up to him, that some would even stay an hour up late during his speech as seen in the first chapter. But once Mr. Jones is successfully driven out of the farm, the animals take Animal Farm for themselves. And Snowball and Napoleon implement new rules, or the commandments. The commandments. For the first one, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. These 2 commandments out of the 7 lead to the popular saying, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal. And all animals are equal for the 7th commandment. This windmill project, however, was argued or contrasted by many of the animals. In page 34, the whole farm was deeply divided on the subject of the windmill. Snowball did not deny that to build it would be a difficult business. Stone would have to be quarried and built up into walls, then the sails would have to be made, and after that there would be a need for dynamos and cables. How these were to be procured, Snowball did not say, but he maintained that it could all be done in a year, and thereafter, he declared, so much labor would be saved that the animals would only need to work 3 days a week. Napoleon, on the other hand, argued that the great need of the moment was to increase food production, and that if they wasted time on the windmill, they would all starve to death. The windmill project was also easily contrasted because of its costly and challenging construction alone. Aside from the windmill implementations or projects and committees, Napoleon was in charge of ensuring all the 7 commandments were to be followed, and alongside Snowball, he answered whatever questions the animals had regarding these commandments, which the clarifications also included if animals that had 2 legs but had wings were considered friends or foes. Napoleon also mostly led rebellion and the Battle of Cowshed. I love the name for that one, by the way, and he oversaw the decision making in the farm. However, Napoleon's pursuit of power and manipulation eventually led him to overthrow Snowball. This turning point would also mark the downfall of Napoleon as the commandments and his own treatment of the animals began to change. So the confused animals changed their ways, as well as in terms of seeing Napoleon as somewhat of an idol more than a simple leader to look up to, including Boxer remarking that Napoleon is always right. The Boxer, the horse, represents the working class who has looked up to the wrong form of leadership. The old horse himself is also overworked throughout the novel. Like every other sane reader of Animal Farm, we all know that Boxer's death was truly the most painful scene. For the next 2 days, Boxer remained in his stall. The pigs had sent out a large bottle of pink medicine, which they had found in a medicine chest in the bathroom, and Clover administered it to Boxer twice a day after meals. In the evening, she lay in his stall and talked to him, while Benjamin kept the flies off him. Boxer professed not to be sorry for what had happened. If he made a good recovery, he might expect to live another 3 years, and he looked forward to the peaceful days that he would spend in the corner of the big pasture. The first time that he had leisure to study and improve his mind. He intended, he said, to devote the rest of his life learning the remaining 22 letters of the alphabet. However, Benjamin and Clover could only be with Boxer after working hours, and it was in the middle of the day when the van came to take him away. The animals were all at work, weeding turnips under the supervision of a pig, when they were astonished to see Benjamin come galloping from the direction of the farm buildings, braying at the top of his voice. It was the first time that they had ever seen Benjamin excited, indeed. It was the first time that anyone had ever seen him gallop. "Quick, quick!" he shouted. "Come at once! They're taking Boxer away!" Without waiting for orders from the pig, the animals broke off work and raced back to the farm buildings. Sure enough, there in the yard was a large closed van, drawn by 2 horses, with lettering on its side, and a sly-looking man in a low-crowned bowler hat sitting on the driver's seat, and Boxer's stall was empty. The animals crowded round the van. "Goodbye, Boxer!" they chorused. "Goodbye!" "Fools! Fools!" shouted Benjamin, prancing round them and stamping the earth with his small hoofs. "Fools! Do you not see what is written on the side of the van?" That gave the animals a pause, and there was a hush. Muriel began to spell out the words, but Benjamin pushed her aside, and in the midst of a deadly silence, he read, "Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler, Willingdon, dealer in hides and bone meal, kennels supplied. Do you not understand what that means? They are taking Boxer to the knackers." A cry of horror burst from all the animals. At this moment, the man on the box whipped up his horses, and the van moved out of the yard at a smart trot. All the animals followed, crying out at the top of their voices. Clover forced her way to the front. The van began to gather speed. Clover tried to stir her stout limbs to a gallop and achieved a canter. "Boxer!" she cried. "Boxer! Boxer! Boxer!" And just at this moment, as though he had heard the uproar outside, Boxer's face, with the white stripe down his nose, appeared at the small window at the back of the van. "Boxer!" cried Clover in a terrible voice. "Boxer! Get out! Get out quickly! They're taking you to your death!" All the animals took up the cry of "Get out, boxer, get out," but the van was already gathering speed and drawing away from them. Even reading the book 5 years later, that gruesome scene still brought me to tears. Boxer's death then symbolized the exploitation, betrayal, and manipulation of the working class by those in power. It highlights this cyclical nature of totalitarianism, where the very individuals who contribute the most to a cause are often discarded when they no longer serve the interests of the ruling elite, the elite being Napoleon. In terms of more symbolism, because we love a good allegory, Napoleon also represented the tyrannical leader Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union during and after the Russian Revolution of 1917. Napoleon's character embodies the traits and actions associated with Stalin, while Snowball represented Trotsky, a key figure in the Russian Revolution of 1917. Snowball's character mirrors Trotsky's role in the early stages of the revolution, both in terms of leadership and ideological contributions. Initially, Snowball collaborated with Napoleon in the leadership of Animal Farm, which mirrored the early collaboration between Trotsky and Stalin in the Soviet Union before their eventual falling out and Napoleon's betrayal towards Snowball. In the final chapters of Animal Farm undergoes significant transformation. The pig's alliance with humans deepens, and the once revolutionary principles are rewritten to justify the pig's actions. The novel concludes with the animals looking back and realizing that, despite the supposed liberation from humans, they are now indistinguishable from their former oppressors, which are the humans themselves. As seen in the ending of this book, but they had not gone 20 yards when they stopped short. An uproar of voices was coming from the farmhouse. They rushed back and looked through the window again. Yes, a violent quarrel was in progress. There were shoutings, bangings on the table, sharp, suspicious glances, furious denials. The source of the trouble appeared to be that Napoleon and Mr. Pilkington had each played an ace of spades simultaneously. 12 voices were shouting in anger, and they were all alike. No question now what had happened to the faces of the pigs. The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already, it was impossible to say which was which. In other words, as Napoleon became a tyrannical leader towards the animals and, made alliances with humans like Mr. Pilkington, eventually he became just like him. And with the current saying that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, and then 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, it has turned out to be 4 legs good, but 2 legs better. So this is a reminder that reason why this is considered a fable is because aside from the anthropomorphic behavior or characteristics of the animal characters, it also has a parallelism that, in other words, these animals are pretty much kind of like becoming human. And I will admit, even from 1984, from George Orwell, Animal Farm was definitely a haunting novel to read. And reading this book again 5 years later helped me understand these political ideologies better. From being a wee little and cringy 10th grader to a university student raised with more awareness of what society is truly like, I can say that Animal Farm has indeed stuck with me as I got older, and I'm so glad to read it again. And also, new collection. So as you can tell, this one has the Signet Classic has a more minimal cover with the pig and my pig squeaky toy. There's also a different description compared to the one from the Collins Classics, as well as reviews of some other authors and magazines or newspapers. There's also what do you call that? Like a foreword. There were foreword and afterword of the book from the Signet Classics, or rather preface and an introduction. My mistake. And this one has a little more content than the Collins Classics one. As you can tell, it's a lot thicker, but I guess it's only because the text here is a lot bigger as well compared to the Collins Classic, and the book itself is longer. Compared to this Collins Classics, the most we have is the life and times of the author, and of course the glossary of classic literature, which some common words used in classics that are all compiled into a little dictionary. I was actually happy to read both editions, and I think remembering the previous edition, which is the Signet Classics one I got from 10th grade, both of them have the same appeal, even 5 years before and then 5 years later. But I actually like the cover of this one better because it seems a little bit more revolutionary. I guess I would say revolutionary in the sense that it's literally the pigs leading the revolution. As you can tell, there are other animals as well, like the horse, there's a cow, there's a dog, and there's a chicken. I also love the use of red because red is usually like a common color used in rebellion, in flags symbolizing rebellion. So I really like this one better. And again, the Collins Classics collection I'm currently building up George Orwell's position as one of the great writers of the 20th century. So that is all I could say about Animal Farm. Of course, there's a little more symbolism I missed out on, like Molly represents the bourgeoisie. Molly represents the bourgeoisie because of her love for ribbons, looking pretty, and not caring about what's going on at the farm. She lacks awareness, most least to say. And then other characters like Benjamin the donkey has a cynical personality that many readers have even said could be Orwell himself. And there's a lot more symbolism as well, but I wanted to focus on, of course, our main pigs. And while I understand that this is meant to mirror real life events or historical events, Snowball deserved better. Like, Snowball's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. But anyways, that is all for today's episode of Baby Reviews Books. Once again, excuse the rambling, excuse the random cuts or bloopers or any nonsense scenes. I'm still working on building more content for my channel, but I hope you guys enjoyed this book review episode anyway as much as I did. And Animal Farm is actually one of my favorite classics. It's close to heart, and you know what they say, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Well, I have my own saying as well. It says, don't be sad, be rad. So I'll see you guys in another episode of Baby Reviews Books. If you guys are also interested in checking out the book blog itself, the link will be available in the description below, as well as the transcript or blog post itself for this episode if you want to follow or read along. And that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye! I also want to give a shout out to or special thanks to Spark Notes and Clip Notes for helping me. I know I had to write a lot of stuff down from memory on how I remembered the book, and as you can tell, I totally did not film this the day after I filmed my commentary on The Good Son. Nope, totally did not.